assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush amdeed, je ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishpata.
Pocheragale, ni hao, tune shumme, washmale, ohaya gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, suavia, balli kare aaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very superb. She's looking very good today as well. She is Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Ahsan Khan. It's a Wednesday, fine morning over here in Islamabad. The weather's changing, and we hope and pray that everybody out there in 46 different countries is ready to kickstart their day with us. Hello, Shiza. How are you doing today?
Doing absolutely great. Thank you for asking, and doing even better now. I feel like I am sort of absorbing your energy too.
Wow,
so
that's wonderful.
we are going to be on the same page. How are you doing?
Well, I think I'm doing fantastic. I'm loving my life, alhamdulillah. Lately,
Mashallah.
there were a few changes which I wanted to do in my life. I'm not sure whether I've made a promise to myself that I'm going to kind of abide by the promises I've made. But I think that I'm going in the right direction, because these are the
That's
kind of
good.
promises I almost make to myself on every Saturday and Sunday. So I'll actually have to wait for the next Saturday or Sunday to kind of feel or realize that, okay, I stood by the promises I've made to myself. And Shiza, this is something which I would love to ask you, and
Yeah.
for everybody who's out there, who just woke up and would be like, you know what, or probably they were hard on themselves as well, because there are some certain decisions in life, you take them and then you challenge yourself for it, and then eventually you start to realize that, hey, what was it really important to kind of
Was it
pressurize
worth
my own
it?
self?
Yeah.
So does that really happen to you as well, that there are days when you wake up and you'll be like, why did I do this stupid thing, and why can't I just get over it?
Of course, yes. And I feel like, okay, this is a very funny anecdote though. You know how some traits are sort of related to the zodiac sign that you
Yeah.
have?
Well,
So
I don't believe in it, but okay,
I
you
get
do.
it. That's why I said some people do
Yeah.
believe in it. It's ridiculous in a way as well. I do on and off. So I feel like it's a thing with Virgos as well. Everything I do in the day, or every conversation I have, or every decision that I make,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time in the night
All
thinking
right.
about all of those things, and sort of, wondering if this could be better, if I would have said this could have happened, or if I could have done this could have happened. And can I just tell you that I don't think it's healthy. It gives me a lot of stress.
Right, all right. And I'm going to add on to that as well, because this is similar with everybody.
Yeah.
So whatever you're going to go or do throughout the day, towards the end of the night, you'll be like, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. Why did I do that? So there are certain things which really, certainly, the characteristics of all of those actions do not meet your morals or values.
True.
That's what the problem is.
But
and half
wait,
of the time,
what does that mean? Does that mean our standards for ourselves are like really high and we don't fall on those standards?
Oh.
Or does it mean that we just like to give ourselves a hard
exactly.
time?
I think it's a wonderful conversation which we are having, and it will make people's life simpler as well. So with morals and values, I'll share my own
Yes.
experiences. So imagine what happens is that that we've actually been brought up in a family where you really have to be caring towards everybody.
Of course.
You have to make sure that while you're doing business, or if there's any kind of transaction, you have to be transparent in it. You have to let people know that okay, that this is something which you're selling, and that there are these faulty things within that particular object. So please make sure that you kind of get it verified as well. But what happens is that that the world has actually has something really different to offer from whatever morals and values you carry.
That's true.
And then half of the time I've seen people that they succumb to that pressure, and they kind of agree with it because they think that it's a simpler solution. But hey, you know what? This is something which you need to remember, and this is a message for everybody out there, that all of these things which we are doing right now, as of now, when we sit together, is because of the fact that Allah allowed us to do so.
Absolutely,
So please make sure that you have your faith in Allah Almighty, and everything's going to be just the way you want it to be.
Inshallah.
Start to contemplate on such actions. Start to ask from Allah Almighty. And this is one thing which I tell every day to myself, and that is, Allah ne tujhe bada dena. Allah is going to give you a lot. Allah is going to bless you. And this is one thing, ladies and gentlemen, which is going to attract all the happiness and take away all the sadness from you.
Absolutely, and I feel like this is a brilliant message to begin the day
Thank
with
you.
as well. To have that kind of tawakkul into Allah Ta'ala, because He is the one who is going to manage everything anyway. So why sort of stress about it? it is very easy to say than it is to do, and I am the example of that.
It is.
To be honest, I
Yeah.
mean, of course, I believe in tawakkul, and my life revolves around tawakkul. But being a human,
Yeah.
you stress about things, and in some cases, the stress does get to your physical body, your mental health as well, and everything, and it becomes a lifestyle. And what do you do when you have a toxic lifestyle? You have to change it, and I don't necessarily mean just in terms of stress,
Yep.
but well, in terms of your physical health as well. If you feel like you're not able to sort of, well, wake up every day and be healthy and active and, do your chores and probably go out and have a good time. If you're being lazy, if you're being lethargic, if there's anything wrong with you generally as well, that is a point. First of all, you need to go see a doctor and then change your lifestyle.
Exactly,
Just-
and
yeah.
Shiza, where we were actually talking about that the world has exactly opposite to offer. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to give a reference point to everybody as well, where they will understand,
Okay.
what we're trying to kind of make them understand, and that is that, so I am into importing cars, and
Okay.
then selling them over here. So, while you're importing cars in bulk, what happens is that, that there are some cars which are driven probably
Okay.
thousands of kilometers, then there are some cars which are driven like hundreds and thousands of kilometers. So what happens is that the car might look good in the condition, but as soon as it's here, my partners would suggest me to kind of take the meter back to from hundreds of thousands to thousands of kilometers.
I hope you don't
So
do that.
yes, obviously it is a difficult task, and they will pressurize you, and they will be like, hey, you know what, nobody's going to buy the car and whatnot. So I'm like, you know what, we have to hold our ground, make sure that whatever we have, that's it. We are going to offer this to somebody else, and this is how Allah takes you forward as well. And once you are steadfast in the right path, I think everything's going to be good. But coming back to the point,
Yes.
there are things and there are days when you feel lazy. There are days when you think that you're going to throw up. There are days when you think that that you've got a headache, and then half of the time you do not realize what the problem is.
Right. And you know what, Shazad? Of course, there must be different or unique scenarios for different people out there if you're not feeling well. But one of the most common conditions that Pakistanis are actually living with is heart diseases, and they actually can appear in so many different forms. And I need to talk about it because it bothers me because it runs in my family from both sides.
Okay.
And can you believe, so all the deaths in my family that I have had in, well, my grandparents, my chachus and my mamus and whatnot, it's all because of heart diseases.
Oh my God.
And just recently, this was last month or even 40-ish days back, one of my chachus who was 40 years of age, who turned 40 this year, lost his life to another heart attack, unfortunately. So I feel like this is something I need to learn for myself. I need to make sure that everyone around me learns it as well, because you know what? You don't ever pick up something, for example, if you're having a fast food, you don't ever take a bite and think, I'm eating a heart attack.
Yeah.
My point being, it does add to these kind of lifestyle habits, actually add to your bad physical conditions as well. Before I do give everything away, I think we have a very informative report for all of you out there to take a look at it, because today happens to be
World Heart Day.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go take a look at it, and when we come back, we have a lot of questions that need to be answered.
World Heart Day is being observed today to spread awareness around cardiovascular diseases and reduce the global disease burden. Our heart is one of the most important organs as it delivers oxygen and nutrients to our cells and also removes waste products. Any sign of a heart troubles should be taken seriously as it is linked to your longevity and survival. It is important to eat right, exercise, stay away from smoking and alcohol, and avoid junk food to avoid getting heart diseases. Cardiovascular diseases are a group of disorders of the heart and blood vessels that include coronary heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, rheumatic heart disease, and other conditions. According to World Health Organization, more than 4 out of 5 CVD deaths are due to heart attacks and strokes, and 1/3 of these deaths occur prematurely in people under 70 years of age. Heart health has assumed significance during the pandemic as there is a rising trend of sudden heart attacks, and even people aged between 40 to 50 are affected by it. Faulty lifestyle, unhealthy diet, heavy smoking, or cardiac history may be contributing towards the rising heart troubles in young people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I think that we really have a common ground, and that is that, a lot of people die from heart attacks, strokes, and heart failures as well. And just to give you a figure, almost every year, 17 million people die of heart-related
Oh my
diseases or
God.
cardiovascular diseases all over the world, and we can stop it by just making some minor adjustments in our lifestyles. What can be those minor adjustments is something which we will be talking about. And not just that, there's one more thing which I've always been confused about, and that is that, half of the time, God forbid, if somebody thinks that they have a problem with their heart. So obviously Pakistanis do not have a habit of going to the doctor.
Yeah.
They would just go to an emergency room, get their ECG done, and if whoever's in the emergency room, if they know how to read the ECG, they will be like, hey sir, you know what, you're fine,
You're
go
doing
back
good,
home.
huh?
And the next thing you know is that that person died of a heart attack as well, because this is something which happened with my own uncle.
Oh.
So he went with an arm pain, which is a basic symptom, and he went with an arm pain to a hospital. He walked on his foot, and the guy said that your blood pressure was high, please go back and you're going to be fine. And next 15 minutes he was dead.
Oh
And
my
may his soul
God,
rest
I'm
in
so
peace as well.
sorry.
So let's kind of get into this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the Chairman Cardiac Center, PIMS. He happens to be Professor Dr. Naeem Malik Saab. Hello sir, Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Salam. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for joining us. First things first, sir, very quickly, how do you think that being in love and being with the loved ones will always have a positive impact on your heart health?
Well, if you are in love with yourself, then definitely it's going to have a
Oh.
very positive outcome on your heart as well as
That's a very
on your
smart
life.
answer.
Yes.
Thank you very much for saying that, sir. So first things first, it is an important day. How would you highlight its significance, the problems within the Pakistani culture and people and lifestyle we have adopted for ourselves, which is killing a lot of people every single year?
Well, it's a very important day today, World Heart Day. That these days are celebrated just to create awareness
Yes.
among the people, common masses, as well as among the doctors. The doctors try to learn more and more. As you just mentioned, one incident in your family,
Yeah.
that gentleman was having pain in the left arm,
Exactly.
and after 15 minutes he was no more.
Exactly.
So the doctor missed it. So once you have brought into the knowledge of that doctor, the next time I think he will not he'll
Ignore
exert
it.
more, try to learn ECG,
Exactly.
and try to help the patients, sending them to the proper places. So this day is very, very important. Let me give you some figures.
Please.
These are very alarming. Well, cardiovascular diseases, they happen to be the #1 cause of mortality all over the world.
Exactly.
Okay.
And same is true for our country as well. In 2016, the heart diseases, they were contributing as 19% of the total mortality in Pakistan.
Oh.
And recently it has been seen that this contribution has gone up to 29%.
Oh. This
So
is
this
really
is very,
alarming.
very alarming.
Why, sir? Why do you think that it has gone from 19 to 29%? That's a 10% increase
And
in
in-
a year's
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
It is sad that I'm very sorry to say that Pakistanis is the laziest nation on the earth.
Really?
I kind of agree to it.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I feel sorry for that because I am part of it and I'm proud to be a part of it. But we don't like to walk. We have to go to the market, we have to go to the mosque, we'll try to get a lift or use a motorbike or car just to for the prayers even. So we don't like to walk. That is very, very sorry state of affairs. In poverty, Pakistan is probably one of the leading countries of the world. And unfortunately, so we are in obesity also
Yes.
because we eat much and we don't like to walk.
And then, while we're talking about eating as well, sir, there are a lot of researches which are coming in and they kind of counter argument with that we're not supposed to have desi ghee, that we're not supposed to have yolks. But over here, people like nalli biryani,
Nihari.
nalli nihari,
Yes,
and then,
I love it.
and then mutton biryani, and then
Brain masala.
brain masala, and all of those things which are rich with cholesterol, and they enjoy it, and they want to have like 4 or 5 naans with it, chapatis and whatnot, and they kind of enjoy over that feast as well. That they have this comment about butt nahi related, they butt nahi, things like that. So imagine that we live in a country where we're talking about, having food is a luxury to ourselves.
Right.
And that, to be honest, sir, we have a lesser amount of parks. Even if we talk about cities, Islamabad, I don't want people to kind of counter it in Pakistan because Islamabad is a very different city.
It's a
the only
special
planned
case.
city.
Yeah.
It's the only planned city in the entire Pakistan as well. So imagine that people who take luxury over eating a lot of food. How do you think that we can change this mindset? And how much do you think that all of these eating habits contribute towards stroke, heart failure, and heart attack?
Sir, we can only improve in our health when we stop eating for taste.
Yeah.
For taste.
For
Yeah.
taste.
Okay.
If we just start eating for living,
Yeah.
then I think that will be the time that our health will improve.
Exactly.
If we keep on eating for taste, then I'm very sorry that we cannot really improve our health. All these things, eatables, which you just mentioned, brain masala and everything, they are tasty.
Yeah, I felt like eating it, while
They
I
are
was.
Why,
tasty,
same
no
here.
doubt.
Yeah,
So once in a while you can have.
true.
They are tasty because they have a lot of cholesterol in it. Anything which has cholesterol in it, it will be tasty.
Really?
Yes,
Oh.
that is for sure. So once you start eating just to pass the time, just to fill your stomach, just to get energy, then only you can have a healthy life.
But sir, the problem is that we do not eat to fill our stomachs up. We eat because we are Netflixing and chilling.
Right.
And then we are munching, and then we have this habit of kind of just because we're not doing anything, we love eating. That's what the problem
And you
is.
know what? I feel like we have to sort of develop the taste where you said that things that are cholesterol are very yummy. Well, that is true in a way that we don't have the habit of eating things otherwise. So there are days when I love salads and everything. I love my greens and reds, okay? So for my meal, I would prepare a very good looking salad and whatnot. And I'll probably make finger fish with spinach and whatnot. And my husband
Do you
will
fry
not
finger fish?
touch, sorry?
Do you fry finger fish?
In a very little amount of
Alright,
oil.
that's good.
My husband does not touch the food. He's like, where's my biryani? I'm like, for God's sake, please try to eat broccoli for that matter. But I don't think people like that.
Yeah.
But Dr. Saab, while you do sort of deliberate further on that, this is a very common question and I want legit answer to it because, so recently I was talking about this person from my family who unfortunately passed away because of a heart attack. They had pain in their back. And like Shazad mentioned, it was not detectable in a way because when they went to the hospital, they gave them the painkiller, whatever was happening. And then later on, the doctor mentioned that you don't have to wait for the pain to be on the left side of your body because that is hardly few percent of the cases. So what are some of the things like severe pain in the back in this case that we should look of after in case it gets severe?
I remember my professor, my teacher, telling me that any pain between your umbilicus and your ears,
Okay.
pain anywhere in this area can be a heart attack.
Oh.
So you should not ignore pain anywhere. I tell you one thing that there was my colleague. He's still alive.
Yeah.
He had a heart attack while he was in medical college. So he was
So
a little
young.
obese.
Okay.
Little obese, and he had a strong family history.
Uh-huh.
He would tell me that sometimes I am having pain in my little finger,
Okay.
and it responds to sublingual tablet which people take to get the relief from the heart pain.
Okay.
So that used to be heart pain.
Hmm.
Mother of my friend, she used to have headache
Because of
and
heart
that was,
condition.
that was angina.
Oh.
So you cannot ignore any feeling between this area from head to your umbilicus.
So
any
generally
feeling-
speaking, that means from your head to your upper body,
Yes.
your waist,
The
right?
abdomen,
Yes.
yeah.
All right.
All right, and not just that, so let's just build up on this as well. That okay, so you've said that from your ears down to your belly button,
Yes.
that's the area where you shouldn't be ignoring any sorts of pain. But sir, now what happens is that God forbid if anybody kind of presents with pain at the hospital emergency room, I don't know what kind of SOPs are in place because if you obviously when you think that it might be heart related, you will always go to the nearest hospital.
Right.
So that will be a local hospital in a market, and people might not be very aware of it because you think that you do not have too much time on your watch. So probably just go to the closest. Do you think that that's advisable that go to the nearest hospital, or probably take a little longer and go to any other hospital if you think that things are not that worse?
try to go to a hospital where the cardiac facility is available. The facility of CCU is available.
Okay.
And if it is not available in your vicinity, then go to any hospital, go to emergency, and at least get an ECG.
Okay.
And getting an ECG is not really sufficient. It should be read by a cardiologist within 5 minutes.
True.
Within 5 minutes, it should be read, the report should come, and the further steps should be taken as per the report.
All right. So now moving forward, so we went to the hospital. Now this ECG, okay, and you want the ECG to be read by a cardiologist. It is very important, and I'm telling everybody once again that you really kind of have to make sure that that no noob kind of understands or probably reads your ECG, because they cannot understand it. ECG, it takes doctors years and years and cardiologists to kind of learn how to read it as well. But sir, what are the other tests which any individual should go and get themselves tested for whether their heart is fine or not?
History is very important.
Okay.
The way the patient presents to the doctor. One thing is very important, that in heart attack, there is always fear of death.
Yes.
The patient thinks that I am about to die. Doctor, do something. Do quickly. When the patient says like that, then the doctor has to be on his tiptoes. He has to pay attention to the patient, because the next moment the patient may not be alive.
Right.
So history is very, very important. The doctor who is sitting in emergency, he must be very familiar with the cardiac history.
Okay.
He should absolutely know what can be the presenting complaints of a cardiac patient. Like I think Shiza was mentioning that the patient was having pain in the back.
Yes.
So, and they took it as a muscle pain and give the painkillers and just
sent them back during the heart attack. Can you believe it?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
It does happen.
Insane.
It does happen.
Oh God.
That's why now specialty has come up of director emergencies.
Okay.
They are well trained in cardiology as well as in other fields where urgent attention is required to the patient, like head injury or stroke, or they are well trained. Now they are well trained doctors in emergency setting, dealing with every emergency sort
And
of.
it's important.
It is very, very important. Although it has come late, but thanks God it has come.
And you know what? I think this is very important that Dr. Sab did mention. Please make sure to look for a cardiologist, a specialist who actually spent years learning just about this very organ and how to deal with it, how to make it healthier and better, because no one else will give you a view that a cardiologist will. And Pakistan actually happens to have some brilliant people as cardiologists. One perfect example we have right here. Others, a lot of them we have working in the US as well, in Canada, all over the world too. But now, the very important questions which I feel like we should sort of wrap the segment up with as well. So if we do get a hint of, so now we did learn from you what are some of the things that we should, sort of look forward to in case we're thinking it's a heart attack. What do we do? So till the time I put the person in the car, take them to the hospital, or wait for the ambulance whatsoever, what do I do with the person? What do I give them?
And do you think CPR can work?
Yes.
All right.
We just pray that
Just break.
CPR is not really needed.
Okay.
If you have a tablet of Disprin, just give it to the patient and ask him to chew it.
The soluble one?
Chew it.
Soluble one, if you have, and very good.
Okay.
If a common Disprin you have, then ask him to chew it.
Okay.
Because chewing one tablet of Disprin will save his life. And it has been seen in studies that a single pill of Disprin, if given at appropriate time, it saves life in 21% of the patients of heart attack.
Oh wow.
And same is true for stroke. If you use Disprin while having a stroke, you might be saved from the stroke. So Disprin is very, very important.
Exactly.
And you have available tablets of sublingual angicid, we call it, we name it angicid.
Yes.
The tablet which is kept under the tongue.
Yeah.
It rapidly it gets dissolved, goes into your circulation, and it opens up the arteries immediately.
All right.
That also helps in some of the patients. Once you have done this, just meanwhile make arrangements of shifting the patient to the nearest emergency.
All right.
Yes.
Where the CCU is available as well.
Oh, exactly.
But sir, I have one or two more things to ask about it, and why I actually kind of talked about CPR as well is that so I was watching this video on internet. So there was this guy who was training for martial arts.
Okay.
He was a fit guy. He was kicking, boxing, doing everything, and all of a sudden, the coach saw that the guy fainted, and he started giving him CPR as well. And they revived the guy. He was going through a heart attack because
Oh.
while you're doing intense activity, ladies and gentlemen, at times your heart can go into failure as well.
A lot
But
of athletes actually
Exactly.
passed away during their games.
Exactly, even in football matches as well.
Yes.
But sir, two or three more things, and that is that these days people confuse panic attacks with heart attacks as well. I think that's a big confusion. So how can we differentiate in between them? So that people at least have mental peace that okay, it's a panic attack, it's not a heart attack. Because I had a similar panic attack while I was actually coming from Lahore to Islamabad. I was traveling by myself. Both of my arms went numb, and my heart rate was very high, and I was all by myself, couldn't drive, so I had to rush to the first ever stopover which I had. And then the guy came over and he was like, sir, if your blood pressure is fine, I think that you'll be fine, but if your blood pressure is not fine, we'll have to move you to another hospital. So I was confused that whether, God forbid, something wrong with my heart, or whether is it just a panic attack. Number two, people over here in Pakistan, majority of the people kind of complain about palpitations as well. So does palpitation have any correlation with heart issues? Please go ahead.
First of all, I would like to reply to your first comment about that footballer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember our very good Scotch player, Torsam Khan,
Yeah.
the elder brother of Jahangir Khan,
Exactly.
our
Yes.
legend,
Yes.
probably the best sportsman Pakistan has ever produced.
True.
Torsam Khan had some underlying cardiac disease, which is a disease of the heart muscle that is called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Okay.
I don't know whether he knew it or not, but he died in the court
Exactly.
while playing a match.
Okay.
And that really pushed Jahangir Khan to work hard and fulfill all the dreams of his elder brother.
Exactly.
So it's not really the heart attack which is the only cardiac disease.
Is the underlying.
Heart has three layers:
Right.
pericardium, myocardium, and endocardium. The diseases can develop in any layer of the heart.
Okay.
When we talk of the heart attack, it's the muscle we are talking, heart muscle,
Okay.
myocardium we are talking. But the similar diseases in pericardium as well as endocardium, they are also lethal. They can also be fatal. And then few people have extra currents in their heart. A heart is an
Yeah.
electrical field.
Exactly.
Okay.
It generates current and which
At times the current voltage, I think, goes up and down as
oh
well.
yes, exactly, you're right. There are some extra wires of electric current in the heart which kick the heart at times.
Okay.
It starts beating at 200, 250. And for how long that will beat at that rate?
It's not
Exactly.
possible.
So-
right?
Atrial fibrillation, sir.
Atrial fibrillations, ventricular tachycardia, and at times they can terminate into ventricular fibrillation, which if not treated in 2 or 3 minutes, it will take the life of the patient.
God forbid. Yes.
So these things have to be kept in mind as well. So these are simple things which you can pick up from the ECG, and if treated promptly in time, the life of the patient can be saved very easily.
Exactly.
There are procedures available in Pakistan, and they were rare, but now these procedures are being done all over Pakistan in almost all the big cities
Exactly.
of this country.
Right.
And second thing, sorry,
The
Panic
second
attack.
thing is, so the correlation in between
Oh, yeah, panic
palpitations
attacks.
or panic attacks, you've said that, tachycardia and all of these problems,
Tachycardia.
you should go to the hospital and get
Yeah.
yourself
Yes.
an ECG. But the other one is that, people get palpitations at times. It sometimes beats like 3 beats all of a sudden, and then 2 beats little later.
I think partly I have given reply to this question as well.
Okay.
Most of the times this palpitation is physiological.
Okay.
Meaning?
You are seeing anything which you like, your heart starts thumping in your chest. You listen to a certain news, whether good or bad, again your heart starts
Or
palpitating.
a very good song,
And
you
there are
feel
times
like dancing in your
when your
Yes.
heart drops into the stomach as well with some news.
Yes, very right. This is called sinking of the heart.
Yeah.
Sinking, that can be, a pathological symptom. I mean, the patient can be true in saying that my heart is sinking, and in fact he is having a heart attack.
Oh.
And especially this happens When the blood pressure drops, heart rate goes up, palpitation, arrhythmias.
Okay.
Heart sinks into your belly.
Oh,
You
wow.
have this feeling.
I
And
thought
it
it was
does
just a
happen.
phrase.
Yes, yes, yes.
I
It
thought
is happening that the heart really sinking.
Yes, it
Yeah.
really happens. It
All
really
right.
happens.
Oh my God,
yes.
this is
We never
insane.
knew about it as well, but thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for being with us and for being so informative. And I think that these were the most common issues people would go through as
True.
well. So please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that for all of those adjustments you're supposed to make in your life, your doctor's been telling you, please make sure that you adopt all of them as well. Make sure that you go for a walk, workout, exercise, but not the intensity should. Okay, so now this, I'm going to tell you this as well, because when I go to the gym, especially in my squats bar, that's where a lot of workforce is actually onto me as well, and then I have to push myself. So the more I push, the more pumping of the blood is going through the body as well. So I actually have to rest myself, bring the heart rate back, and then kind of continue with my workout. If you want to be like that, when I was 19 years old or 18 years old, that I can go all day long, please do not do that. You're pressurizing your heart. Don't do that. It's built for a purpose, and there's this simple formula. So the formula is that you actually have to minus your age out of 220, and that's the maximum beats you can have for a heart.
Really?
Is that true?
Yes, that is true, but you should not do it on the day one.
Yeah.
You have to gradually build it up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So make sure. So, for example, if I am, for example, 40 years old and 220, so 40 taken out, I can go to the maximum of 180 beats per minute.
Okay.
Nothing more than that, and not on the first day as well. So I'm usually somewhere around 122 to 156, and that's the way I want it. I do
Okay.
not want to go any further because that's high risk. So please make sure that you kind of exercise, but while you're exercising, make sure that your heart rate does not go to a point where it's difficult to bring it back to beating normal as well. So please make sure that you do that.
Absolutely. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely headed to a very short break. When we come back, we are going to discuss that while, of course, lifestyle habits need to be changed in terms of what you're eating as well. Can you believe there are still some people who do have a lot of food in their on their plate, on their tables, but choose to waste it? Yes, they are those people, of course. And what repercussions does that habit have on the world, generally speaking, is what we will talk about after this short break. Stay tuned. Good morning. Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. This happens to be the very learned Shahzad Khan.
Thank you very much.
And I am Shiza Hashmi. So today, I feel like this show is so important because in the first segment, if you missed it, we were talking about heart-related issues, of course, not only in Pakistan, but all over the world, because today happens to be World Cardiology or World Heart Day.
Yeah.
But also today happens to be another important day, and that is the International Day for Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. And Shahzad, it's such a crucial thing to talk about because we are a part of the problem.
True.
How often does it happen that you have a plate of your food in front of you, and by the time you're done, there's still food on the plate, and you're like, "Mujhse nahi aur khaya ja raha."
Exactly.
And can you believe that just with that amount of food, you can actually feed an entire family in Yemen?
Exactly.
Shahzad, for so many years, those peoples are without food, without water for that matter, and that is just one example in so many other areas as well. This is the conversation we will be having, but Shahzad, you have some very interesting stats to share with us.
Exactly. So first things first, Shiza, let's talk about that 14% of food which is being wasted from harvest to retail. And, so imagine that, that we can save that and then probably send it to Yemen or all of those places in Africa where people, hardly have
Starving.
anything to eat throughout the day. Not just that, come down to Pakistan, 30% of our population is food insecure, and they do not have the right or the right nutrition which they probably need as well. Our Prime Minister Imran Khan Sahab has actually spoken about stunted growth, and it is because of the fact that our nutritional values are not there. Half of the time that whatever good quality food we produce, we export it rather than for keeping it for ourselves as well. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have an expert over here because the water is running out of this world. We really need to make sure that we come up with smart solutions of growing food or probably agriculture because water is scarce, ladies and gentlemen. And then there's these greenhouse gases. What happens is that for all of that food which is being wasted, takes a lot of energy to grow them, pesticides. And there are so many processes which they have to go through. So imagine if the food's wasted, that energy is going to come back and bite us in another form as well. So we really need to talk about it. And then the SDG 12, I think that everybody kind of needs to speak about it. But very quickly, without any further ado, we're going to introduce our guest. Please, Shiza, go ahead.
Yes, she happens to be an environmentalist. She is a research associate in NEMA as well, a public speaker too. Miss Noreen Fatma. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Noreen. Welcome to our show. So I feel like we're really short on time, so I want the conversation to begin because you have, mashallah, the right kind of knowledge for this. Talking about food production, let's begin with that, and then it's waste. 17% of food production generally is gone to waste all over the world. And the maximum number of waste that happens is at household level. That means individual, not industries, not businesses for that matter, at household level. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's not about, when we talk about food damage, we need to understand that it's a sum of food loss and food damage. So food waste.
Yes.
So we need to consider both. They are equally contributing in food damage. As you already mentioned that maximum, I think, food wastage is done at individual level. As we can see in wedding ceremonies, we normally put so much food in our plate, and without thinking that whether we can eat it or not. After having so much food in our plate and we are fully stuffed, we say, as you already mentioned, that we cannot eat it enough, and that food is wasted, especially in the restaurants. We can imagine that whenever we order much and a lot of food is wasted, it can be served to needy people, and especially the restaurants when they have to make a large amount of food because they think that any order that would come we would not be able to prepare, so we have to make it in large amount. And after that, maybe it might be ordered by the customer or not, but it will get wasted.
And you value those restaurants. You value those restaurants who actually waste their leftover food as well, because you're like, hey, you know what? Every time we walk in, you're going to get fresh food. But okay, there's a solution. So every time I go to a restaurant, if there's any piece of bread even, and I haven't eaten it, I'll pack it. I'll take it somewhere. And if there's anybody who needs it, I will definitely give it to them as well. We have a small report to share. Once you guys will come back, we're actually going to talk about the SDG 12, which is about responsible consumption. So please go ahead, take a look, and then we will talk about the SDG 12.
Let's do it.
Food is an important part of our lives as it gives nutrients to develop and grow. Most people don't realize how much food they throw away every day, from uneaten leftovers to spoiled produce. Reportedly, 68% of the wasted food we generated, or about 42.8 million tons, ended up in landfills or combustion facilities.
By managing food sustainability and reducing waste, we can help businesses and consumers save money, provide a bridge in our communities for those who do not have enough to eat, and conserve resources for future generations. Food loss refers to the decrease in the quantity or quality of food resulting from actions taken by food suppliers in the chain. UN General Assembly passed a resolution which recognized the observance of the International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste Reduction. This day provides an opportunity to call both the public and the private sector to prioritize actions and move ahead with innovations to reduce food loss and waste towards restoring and building back better and resilient, ready food systems. Pakistan is also using techniques and climate smart storage technology to alleviate post harvest food loss. Food loss can be reduced by adapting cultivation systems, distribution, storage and marketing strategies. Ministry of National Food Security and Research aims to eradicate hunger and malnutrition, alleviate poverty and make effective food production systems that contribute towards food security.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for a better understanding, we played the report as well, but now coming back to our very esteemed guests as well. So I'm going to throw you 5, 6 things and I want you to kind of answer them because we're very short on time and this is a very important topic. So obviously, where are we on the 12th SDG, which talks about responsible consumption and production, and then how all of these following things can be attained. Number 1 is food security, number 2 is food safety, improving food quality and reducing food loss and waste.
So when we talk about SDG 12, it is responsible consumption and production. It means that by the end of 2030, we have to have the per capita food waste and food loss.
Okay.
And we are left, I think, with 9 years because by the end of 2030, SDG's
Will be
time period will
re-improvised.
be, I think it's the time frame in
Yes.
which we have to achieve them.
Yes.
So at global level, for the food wastage, FAO has developed food loss index and food waste index. So what we can do at country level, we can share our data so that we can be able to share a proper index so that globally we can take action because we cannot minimize any country because when you talk about SDGs, we talk about globally because it's a
Yes,
global
all
issue.
together.
We have to make our planet sustainable not only for us but also for our future generations. And when we talk about, we also ask about food security, we need to take care that during production that 40% of the food is wasted during harvest till our plate. So we need to take care that the whole process we are doing, we need to take care of the processes we are taking, whether they are making sure that our food is not wasted. And we also need to realize that at our level, when food comes to our plate, we need to make sure that food is not wasted because when we waste this food, it also loss our resources that we use. We need to understand that average person requires 2.5 liter of water, and for the production of about one very person food production, we require 35,000 liters of water that will be wasted. If that food will be wasted, we'd also consider transportation costs, resources costs, the pesticide costs,
The land where it
land
grows
will
and
be,
everything.
and also when we made food loss, it will affect climate change.
And you know what, we're not even talking about organic farming over here, you know.
Yes.
So, you know, we're not even eating the right amount of food
Yes.
with the right stats of nutrition as well. But very quickly, Shiza, I wanted to add on over here that
Yeah.
I'm even against the culture where, you know, I still remember as a child, you know, that, you know, we wanted to pour the salan and curry and everything by ourselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, our mothers would always stand on our head and be like, agar ye khatam nahi na hua, you know, if you won't finish
Yes.
it, you know, you're going to get beaten. So, you know, just in that pressure, we used to eat too much, you know, making us obese as well.
Yeah.
So I'm against that culture as well, that, you know, okay, let the kid do whatever they want to do, but whatever food is left on the plate, you bring it together and then you give it to somebody
Someone.
in a very presentable way.
Yeah.
Rather than chipedifying your son or your daughter, why haven't you finished it? It's better to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, but also
We
I
need
feel like
to
before
make the culture that, especially in restaurants, we need to write some signboards that buy what you can eat appropriate
Well,
amount of the
That's
food.
against their business.
Yeah, but I think we need to take care of globally
And people
because
like larger servings in
larger
restaurants.
servings,
There's other
हाँ,
problems.
yeah,
portion
but
control isn't a concept over here in
but we
Pakistan,
need
it
to
should be.
realize And it also helps in, I think, reducing weight. And I
Absolutely.
think that is the strategy that nowadays everyone is applying, that portion control plays a very important role in becoming fit. And one more
you.
important
Yeah. Okay, one more thing, Noreen. Of course, I know you have, mashallah, a lot to say, but particularly about this, because it's a funny anecdote, and very quickly I'm going to say Shazad made me realize that all the good products that are grown and sown in Pakistan are exported to the people who don't
Majority
deserve
of
it.
them, yeah.
Yeah, and Pakistanis or the farmers or the people belonging to that segment of the society don't get them on their tables. So let us know about exports, how we are sort of wasting our food in that process. Are we though? Correct me if I'm wrong.
one more important thing we need to understand, that there are some products, I think, which requires to be fully, I think, during their processing they must be ISO standard, otherwise they won't get exported.
Such
Especially EU has banned Pakistan fish because of
Oh.
the low quality. We need to improve our processing processes so that we can export a good amount of fish to different countries.
Okay.
Wow,
Okay,
wonderful.
Well, that's
and,
great.
you know, thank you very much for sharing all of this information. It was very useful for all of us, and we hope and believe that people out there are kind of going to contribute individually, because this is something which is required.
Yeah.
We have such an example which I'm going to
Yes.
share with our audiences out there as well. You know, just 2 or 3 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, before COVID, you know, I was doing these festivals all over Pakistan, and those were food and music festivals, and there I met these group of people who were from Lums University. They graduated from there, and they had this initiative of Risk Foundation. What they used to do was that they would go to every other local restaurant all over in Lahore, collect all the leftover and give it to the needy so that the food does
Wow.
not go to waste. So there we have a filler which we're going to share with you guys, but very quickly before we move on to the filler, we're going to say our goodbyes as well. So anything,
Definitely.
Shiza, you want to say, please go ahead.
Yes, I feel like this is a task or an assignment from us to you, and we're going to be part of it too. This day particularly, practice not wasting food. Just sort of control your portions and just put the exact amount that you need to eat. It's okay if you need more, you can put later on, right?
Yeah.
But just make sure not to waste any amount of food today, especially, so that we can carry on the habit forward as well. Till the next time, please take care, and I really hope you learned something from our show. For any kind of feedback, you can log on to our social media pages, and the repeat of this one you can catch at 5 past
5
midnight.
past midnight. Till the next time, look after yourselves, and Risk Foundation, you guys are doing a great job. Look after
Yes.
yourselves, people, and take a look at this very amazing footage from Risk Foundation. Bye bye.
Take
Good
care.
morning.